This is a 3-speed table fan. The first speed somehow doesn't seem to be working. It turns, but it goes very slow. It is supposed to be slow, but it's not supposed to be that slow. I like using the slowest speed because it doesn't blow everything away, but this is a little too slow. The other two speeds are okay. So this is where I put some oil in. There's a little rubber piece. You can just pry it out, but don't break it, and just oil it and then push it back so that the oil or grease would stay in there. I couldn't get to the back of the motor because I would have to take that apart. So it seems to turn okay, pretty smooth, so I don't think that's the problem. But everything that you do to it will help it move more freely, and there'll be less heat build up and the motor will last longer. I'm sure Muddy will remember this. And this is the capacitor. And the words are really tiny. Let me put a magnifying glass on it. It says here purple is 3.75 microfarad and orange is 2 microfarad. 2 microfarad is exactly what I'm looking for, and this one is 220 volt AC, which is close enough to the other one. So I'm gonna try using this capacitor. This is a brand new one, it hasn't been used because it came with the ceiling fan motor. So hopefully this will work. So you see the wires, 2 white ones coming out from the motor and this blue one here. Now the yellow one would correspond to this one. This is the yellow one. Is it says here yellow 2 microfarad, and the orange one is also the 2 microfarad and would correspond to these 2 wires. So I just soldered the wires together and I put some shrink wrap on it. So here's how it looks now with the new capacitor, and I also oiled it and cleaned it as much as I can. It seems to be running okay now. I'll be happy with it if it's running this way. The shaft was turning very nicely before without all the shroud and the weight of the fan and all that. So the proof of the pudding is when you put everything back in with all the extra weight and see if it turns. The fan is working nicely now. I think it would have worked fairly well if you just oil the front bearings. I didn't really take the fan apart, and therefore I couldn't oil the back bearings. But since I took the shroud off and I had an extra capacitor, so I thought I would replace the capacitor, and that's why you saw me doing that replacement before. So right now is on 1 and is rotating nicely. I had no problem with speed 2 and 3, and they work just fine. This is 3, it's blowing nicely. It is the number one speed that I have problem with. Okay, let's hope it will continue to work.